Hey there, toy collector friends and Transformers fans alike. Welcome back to the channel. I'm the Triple TC, that's the time travelling toy collector, and today we are looking at another Age of the Primes entry. This time it is the intriguingly entitled Venin. Yeah, Venin. There he is in his box. There's the packaging artwork. Very, very nice artwork there. As you can see, he is one of the Deluxe Insecticons. Now, we never had the Deluxe, I don't think we had anyway. Certainly as I was a child growing up, we didn't have them. The Deluxe Insecticons here in the UK. And the first time I saw them was when I managed to pick up a G1 Triptychon at a open air market in a little village called Bourne in Suffolk in the UK. And they had the leaflet inside, so you opened it up, and I was super excited because it was the first time I actually saw a real life picture of the toy version of Blaster, the toy version of Omega Supreme, Whirl, Roadbuster, who I've never, these are all characters to me that had only appeared in either comic book or cartoon media, because of course in the UK, this just not to age myself dramatically, but we didn't have the internet. We didn't have any where we could see pictures of these things shared easily. So all we had was the artwork. And of course, not having them in the UK as actual toys you could purchase, it was a real eye-opener for me. And that's where I saw the Deluxe Insecticons. I thought, oh, they're interesting. Of course, in the original range, Venin went by a different name. He went by the name Venom. But due to copyright reasons, as I understand it, Hasbro can't call this figure Venom, because the character is owned by Marvel and so on and so forth. Pretty sure the symbiote was featured in a Marvel comic, where Spider-Man made a guest appearance in a Transformers comic in the black symbiote suit early on in the run of the Marvel comics for Transformers. So I don't really understand. So I get that they're different properties, obviously, and I get that Venom as a name is owned by that character. But you know, it seems a bit odd to me that you can't. You know, there's lots of characters out there with the same first name, and I was always told you couldn't copyright a name, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's changed, or maybe they just don't. Hasbro, because Hasbro's got the licensing rights, haven't they, for Marvel? So maybe there's some internal tryst going on about why they can't do it. But they have come up with an interesting way of getting around it, my dear. Excuse my accent, but what they have done is quite clever, because what they have done is they have called him Venin. And for those of you who have perhaps done any French work or language work, which clearly I haven't, and apologies to anyone who's French who's watching this, who was dreadfully offended by that accent. Apologies. It's my schoolboy French attempt. Venin is French for venom. So there you have it. So they've kind of kept calling him Venom. They've just used the French word for it. And apologies if any other languages used Venin as the word for venom, but there you are. So technically they've got round it. So that was fascinating and boring in equal measure. So let's take a look properly at the box. Now, we had a little look at the box art. There he is in all his glory. Fantastic. There he is in his robot mode. There's something sort of, now again, this is me trying to not be offensive. I'm clearly on a roll today. There's something sort of ancient Egyptian about the head sculpt, I think, and I don't really know what I even mean by that, but there we are. That's something that I noticed. And there's also on the toy version, now this is not a figure that I've ever, neither this one nor the one I'm about to mention, figures I've ever had, but there's a G.I. Joe Cobra figure called, I think it's called Serpentor or Serpentor. Not sure which way you pronounce it. I think it's one of those that you know, pronounce however you choose. But I seem to recall that character had a head sculpt a bit like that. I thought, it was a helmet that they wore. But it reminds me of that as well. And that's another Hasbro property. So this poor dude here, what an amalgamation. It looks like his wings are in the front here on the figure mode as he's strapped into the box. So I don't know whether that, I don't foresee that being how he should be. Lovely box art of the character in his robot mode here on the side. There's the product shots on the back. He's giving us Omega Supreme head cannon. You don't want to know what's in my head cannon. And, you know, is this a completely new sculpt? Because I don't have any, I didn't pick up, as again, some of you will be aware, there's the Age of the Primes, the 13 monument around the Well of All Sparks. But I didn't pick up the Insecticons when they were released in the Legacy line. I nearly did, because I do want them, but because I'd lived through the ordeal that was every time they produced a legacy figure, not every time, to be fair to them, but every time there was a G1 adjacent, let's say, legacy figure released, it was kind of obvious we were going to get another version in the Studio Series 86 line. And I thought, well, actually, I don't need two sets of the Insecticons. I'm not looking to army build the Insecticons. I would rather just have the cartoon deco version just to have with my Studio Series 86 collection, because I've already got the G1 reissue versions of the Insecticons, which are lovely. So I've got the old toy colors and all that stuff, but I would like them in Studio Series 86 colors, and so I held out for that. And of course, I think we're actually getting them all in one hit. I think I think the plan is it's going to be a Studio Series 3-pack with all three of them released. So kind of a result in some respects, because presumably they'll save on some packing costs, and therefore it'll be slightly cheaper to buy all three together. Won't it, Hasbro? Won't it, Hasbro? I'm chuckling away to myself. You don't have to answer that question. No one has to answer that question, because I think we all know the answer to that question. Moving on. So we have Venin, who, if you apply the translation from French to English, is Venom. So apologies if I slide between the two names. But he is one of the Deluxe Insecticons who didn't appear in Studio Series 86, and therefore I've no reason to wait for that to happen, because I don't think it ever would. So I've picked Venom up in this iteration, in the same way that I was able to track down and chase, and I really thought I'd missed out on them, Chop Shop and Barrage in their sort of 2.5 pack, which I'm conscious I haven't done a video on yet, but I will do. I'm very much behind and I'm making efforts and strides to try and clear my backlog. But yes, so they will be coming very, very shortly, but I will feature them in this when I do a quick comparison in terms of the three of them together. I'm aware there's a fourth, and he was released in a multi-pack that I most definitely didn't pick up. I will look to see if I can find him singly, either on eBay or perhaps knocking about in grab boxes at conventions. Or if that set ever became, available at a decent price, I might reconsider it. But yeah, I'm not super connected to the Insecticons, to the Deluxe Insecticons, because they were just this mythical thing. So if I have one missing from my collection, I will probably be able to live with it. Although, as I've said those words, the idea of having one missing from your collection, for those of you who know, will know that that's already starting to burn my brain cells. So, but we'll see. We'll play that one by ear. Anyway, let's get Venom out of the box and take a look at him in all of his coolness. And here indeed we are with Venom outside of his box. Now, straight away, I've got an issue. I've done a mini fix on it, but this wrist here, I don't know how well you can see it. There's a little bit of warping on the edges there of the forearm, and it's less now because I've really forced it in a bit. But the wrist was very much at an angle, and the minute I sort of took it out and moved it, the hand fell off. Now it's a very small friction joint to get it back in, but I mean, but you can see as soon as I move it to transform, this starts to bend out. Pretty sure it shouldn't need to do that. But yeah, so that was really just to sort of say, watch out for that, because that's annoying. And it does put it at rather a strange angle. So he does come with his little head things pointing straight up and wearing this nice sort of little translucent kilt, where we can fold his arm, and the instructions are very clear. Just fold his arms up, bring these out to the side as well. They're on a nice little rotating hinge thing here. Turn it round, pull them to the back like that, and this apparently is the look. And then his arms come down here. Now admittedly, once you do this, his arms do then have to sort of have a forwards leaning, very stiff elbow joints, and also pushes Omega Supreme head cannon back a little bit, so it looks a bit more like that. And then you can sort of move his legs out a bit. He does have ankle tilt, as you can see there. In fact, he's got all the articulation you would hope he's got. The wings are a bit problematic if you want to do 360 with the arms. But again, I always do sort of question why anyone would want to do 360 with the arms, because why would you? Why would you ever need to be doing that? So that's the figure as he looks straight out of the box once you've made a couple of little adjustments. He does come with a little packet, again wrapped up in Autobot logo paper. Why it has to be Autobot logo paper, I don't know. He's not an Autobot, he's a Decepticon. Why can't they just please give us some purple Decepticon coded stuff? Is it that much to ask? Although I've managed to open this remarkably well. So having said that, I might keep, I always bin it, but I might keep it. It comes with this little thing and this gun. And we can attach the gun into his hand, hoping this hand doesn't pop off. So we've got a gun there, and I believe we can attach this as a standalone weapon blade thing into his hand here. So we've got a couple of nice little weapons that he can use. It looks like the end of the gun is let's just move it. See, there is a bit of dynamic posing issue with those wing sections. Sorry, yes, it looks like it's blast effect compatible, which is good. So that works. But you can also combine the two elements together, harking back to the wonderful world of Evo Fusion. How do you do it? There's limited scope for how you can do it, so I'm going to go with that. But if that's right, does that mean this is the bit you now put in the fist? Maybe it is. Oh yeah, maybe it is. So now, so it does convert into a, very conscious of that wrist, don't like it. It converts into sort of a battle axe type weapon. So that's an option for how you want to present him. Obviously, entirely your choice, entirely your discretion. Those wings could over time become a nuisance, and over time I might play with them a little bit to find out if there are different variations of how one might do something with that. See, look at this fist. It's really giving me jip, because it just doesn't. It's not happy, and it's making me not happy. Let's see if that's any better. That was quite I don't know if you heard that. There was a very sort of satisfying clunk. This is the back of the figure, obviously, where it also has this sort of, it reminds me of Scorponok's legs a little bit. But again, it's actually nicely filled in. The figure at the back is nicely filled in, with the exception of the very bottom of the legs, which is a shame. But again, as often is the case, I'm not going to be showing the rear. We do have also gapping in the forearms, but it's a deluxe class figure, so I suppose there's an element of what you expect. Back of the head's a bit curious as well, but I'm thinking we can probably store this here with relative ease. I don't know if we're supposed to do that. I haven't checked the instructions out yet for things like that. I do feel he could do with a bit more heel spurage, but maybe that's just me. And I do love that head sculpt. I have to say, I wish these little side light things, which are obviously going to be his eyes going forward, could be a little bit more discreet in robot mode. But again, I love the chest unit, little Decepticon logo there. The nice translucent plastic in the middle. The mechanical detailing as we go down. The nice sort of staggered leg design there. Really, really nice. You do get, as I said earlier, you do get all of the sort of movement you would expect to get. All the rotations for the posability. All very, very nice, very, very good. So there he is in all of his glory. Let me just sort of stand him there. Here he is next to Chop Chop, one of his fellow Deluxe Insecticons, so you can see how that scales. And here he is next to Barrage, who came with Chop Chop in the 2-pack, and we'll be looking at the 2-pack. Well, it's a 2.5 pack because he also comes with a wrecker, but a tiny little wrecker. So we'll look at those soon. But there he is with his teammates, and actually let's get all 3 of them in for a little bit of a group shot, because why not? They deserve some airtime, because I keep smuggling them into other videos, but haven't actually given them their video yet. So there they are as a little teaser of the team. -1, obviously. But you know what? Three classic Insecticons, 3 Deluxe Insecticons. That works out for me. I can live with that. But there they are, and I think they look really good together. I think there's a nice color palette here that works so well. So you've got the sort of greens and yellows of Barrage. You've got the earthy browns and oranges and reds of Chop Chop, and in the middle you've got a combination of greens and oranges and translucency. And so there is a nice, there's a consistency and a cohesion within this team that I think works really nicely. And you don't always see that. You don't always see that in any Transformer toy line teams, really. Sometimes you do, but not often. Especially not, not super high. Well, no, I don't want to commit heresy, so I'm not going to finish that sentence. But here we have Venom in his robot mode, and you know what? I kind of like it. I'm here for this robot mode. I do like it. So that's robot mode taken care of. Let's check him out in his Insecticon. I can't even speak. Well, I don't know what that was, but in his Insecticon insect mode. That's what that was. Whilst I go and ball my teeth whilst I transform him off screen, just so that I don't have to feel the pressure of your eyes burning into me, and you don't have to listen to me swearing every time I get it wrong. This would be a great opportunity for you to like the video. If you're one of the mad people who think it's worth liking, that would be great. But also if you haven't already, drop a totally free subscription to the channel. I really appreciate it. More than I can tell you, but I will tell you, because if you do drop a subscription and let me know in the comments you've done it, I'll come and thank you personally. Because I set myself particular milestones against time. I didn't used to, but I do now, just to keep me motivated and keep me coming back and doing more. I don't collect for the purposes of the videos. I do the videos because it's a fun way of working with the things that I collect. And sort of keeping me positive and giving me something joyous to do outside of the day job, I suppose. So to see that people are following along and want to see more of this by subscribing is a huge heart warmer for me. So if you could possibly see your way to dropping a completely free subscription to the channel, obviously there's no obligation to watch all the output. So if you're mostly into Transformers, just stick to the Transformer stuff. But you might be into Doctor Who, you might be into Battlestar Galactica or G.I. Joe, or Star Wars or Star Trek, or any number of those other wonderful things. So by all means, check those things out, and others. There's lots of miscellaneous one-offs and curious things. Have a little poke around. Anyway, let me transform this. I will come back to you with any feedback I have about how good or terrible or pinch pointy it might be. And in the words of Rick Gar, don't touch that dial. And here we have Venom transformed into his insect mode, which I think is a cicada. And it's, to all intents and purposes, this mode looks great, but I do have to tell you about something that happened. So whilst I was transforming him, I was a bit preoccupied with with the fists that kept popping off on both arms, actually. And sadly, as I sort of, so the fists were, you know, doing that anyway, and they're designed to do that. So I understand that some parts are designed to do that, to aid with, you know, so it doesn't actually get damaged. Unfortunately, when I was transforming this arm, and I'll show you in a second, it completely detached. The forearm completely, and I thought, oh, it's okay, it's just another, I just reattach it. And then I discovered I couldn't, and it's actually, there's a diagonal crack in the plastic that should hold on to the pin at the top. So and I spent a disproportionate amount of time, in all fairness, trying to reattach it, just to see, because I thought, well, maybe I can clip it back on. And I couldn't, and I think any further attempt to try and clip it back on would just damage the plastic even further. So I have emailed In Demand Toys, which is where I purchased this from, and I know they're very good, just to say, look, this has arrived. I mean, I checked the other arm, and clearly there shouldn't be a crack in the plastic, and it certainly given how tentative I always am about transformations, I know I didn't put a crack across that plastic joint. So unfortunately, it must have been caused in the assembly or something like that, which is unfortunate. But you know, these things do happen. It's doesn't detract from the overall positivity and the goodwill I have for the figure, and obviously for In Demand Toys and Hasbro. But hopefully they'll come back to me soon, and it'll be a simple case of replacement, because, you know, it is a lovely toy. But it's a frustration when the actual engineering is flawed, because there's a crack across the and it is the first time I've had an issue. You know, I was expecting my issue to come with the HasLab, and have the horrific Optimus Prime issues, and I haven't. So this is really a first for me to actually have a definitive problem with the toy. I do like these here. There is also scope to reposition them, should you wish to. You can sort of adjust them slightly, which is a good thing, because it does come with these two tabs on the wings. Sorry if that's slightly out of shot. And they're expected not to tab into there, because they won't, but there's a slight cutout tab space next to the port. So the idea is that they tab into there to hold them in place. But again, and I don't know if there's just maybe an overall engineering alignment issue with mine, or this is everybody's, but it doesn't tab in. They don't meet, but it doesn't go down far enough. So but that's fine, because I actually quite like the fact they can be raised, and that you can also spread them a bit. I kind of like that. It just gives the insect mode just that little bit more option for dynamic posing, you know. So I like that. That is far from a criticism. You can store the weapons here, as you can see on the side, but I'm not going to, because again, Insecticons don't look sensible with weapons attached to them necessarily. I might change my mind on that, but it's nice that the legs splay out. They have got a little bit of you can position them how you want. They are quite movable, so however you want, but there are some nice sort of almost natural resting positions you can put them in, just to sort of spread it out. And you can tilt, they've got a bit of tilt in there, just to assist you if you're sort of using them outside, or you want to give it a little bit of elevation off the ground. So you know, you've got options in terms of how you work with and display your insect mode. So yeah, I kind of like it. I kind of definitively like this figure. I didn't necessarily think that I would do, because again, I do try to go after things that I either have a historical connection with, or I'm just really intrigued in the lore, etc., etc. But yeah, the opportunity when I saw this and I saw the people getting it, I was like, yeah, I kind of like it actually. I like the color scheme. And so of course, once I ordered that, I then had to track down the others so that I would have the as complete as possible set of Deluxe Insecticons, which I am very happy to have. Venin may have to be sent off to Insecticon Field Hospital or either to get replacement or they may be able to tell me actually no, you can reattach it doing this. I'll happily take any advice. Actually, if anyone here has had that issue and it is me misunderstanding what I'm looking at, let me know in the comments down below, because I'll happily just fix it, because I'm quite content to just keep it. But I can't keep it if he hasn't got an attached arm. This is literally just being held in because of how it tabs in. You see, so it's literally, as I just untab it, you'll see here, this is the forearm in question, but if I pull this out and then rotate this around, you will be able to see that crack. And you see that there? So there's a diagonal crack. So it's not like it's just slide it on and it'll clip. It's a diagonal crack in the plastic. As far as I can see, so that's where the pin should sit, through there. But it's a diagonal crack, and just in the rotation of this, somehow it's just come away. And as I say, I did try and reconnect the pin, which is there, to this, but you can see already that's a disproportionate size. So that is not going to play well when trying to reattach it, and it's extremely hard to get appropriate traction. I mean, I have been, it just doesn't want to do it. It just doesn't want to do it, which is fine. Again, if I'm conscious that to try and do more will do more damage, and then that more damage will be on me. And I'm oh, whoops. I'm not looking to do that. So, but it does, from the point of view of this mode, I was able to clip it in, so you wouldn't necessarily know. But obviously, robot mode, you won't have an arm, because that's his forearm, and it just will not reattach. So that's a bit disappointing, and possibly something to watch out for. But if you've got this figure and that isn't an issue for you, and I hope it isn't an issue for you, then it does tell me that it was just a little bit of an unfortunate piece of luck for me that he came with a crack in the plastic. But I've seen other people have issues with their figures where there's already a stress mark or something, and this has obviously already happened. So what can you do apart from let people know? And again, I'm sure it'll be a smooth, effective customer service response. But I will let you know, obviously, if there's anything to report back on that. Anyway, thank you very much. Have you picked up your Deluxe Insecticons? Have you got Venin in your collection? Is he in one piece in your collection? Is he one of your favourite Deluxe Insecticons or not? What's your thoughts? Let me know down below. I've been the Triple TC, that's the Time Travelling Toy Collector. You've been a fantastic companion as I've been looking at the Age of the Primes Decepticon Deluxe Insecticon Venin. And it just remains for me to say that things of beauty really are toys forever when they don't fall apart because they've got cracks in them. Take care. Bye-bye for now.